Just be yourself. It is perhaps the most common advice in the world, a golden rule passed down from parents to children, from friend to friend. It's meant to be liberating. A simple, well-intentioned key to unlock every door of social anxiety and self-doubt. But what if I told you that this well-intentioned phrase is also one of the most destructive lies you have ever been told? Be honest with yourself for a moment. Have you ever walked into a room full of strangers, taken a deep breath, and resolved to just be yourself, only to spend the night in a corner feeling completely invisible? Have you ever followed that advice in a job interview, showing your true, authentic personality, only to receive that polite, crushing email saying they've decided to move forward with another candidate? Have you ever been completely unapologetically yourself in a relationship, only to feel it created a distance you could never bridge? And most importantly, have you ever, in a moment of quiet desperation, asked the terrifying question, which self am I even supposed to be? The one my parents want? The one my friends expect? The one I perform at work? If any of this feels familiar, understand this. You are not broken, the advice is. The comforting mantra of just be yourself is a dangerous oversimplification. It ignores the complex, contradictory, and often shadowy nature of the human psyche. In this video, we are going to dismantle this beautiful lie. We will journey beyond feel-good platitudes and into the depths of what it truly means to be human. And our guide on this journey will be one of history's greatest explorers of the soul, the Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung. Jung understood something that modern self-help often forgets, that your greatest power does not lie in the self you proudly show to the world. It lies hidden in the parts of you that you've been taught to fear, to repress, and to hate. Get ready, you are about to meet the most powerful person you've never known. You are about to meet your shadow. Before we step into the darkness we just spoke of, we must first understand the face we present to the light. The great lie of just be yourself crumbles when confronted with a simple truth. You are not one self. You are many. Carl Jung, in his exploration of the human psyche, gave a name to the face we show the world. He called it the persona. The word comes from the Latin for the masks worn by actors in ancient theater. It is the carefully crafted version of ourselves that we offer up for public consumption. But this mask is not a lie. It is a tool. It is your psychological clothing. You wouldn't wear beach attire to a funeral, nor a tuxedo to a rock concert. In the same way, the persona is the social uniform we must wear to navigate different environments effectively. It is not a weakness. It is a sign of social intelligence. It is the mask of survival. Think about it. The you at work, efficient, professional, and diplomatic, is a persona. The you at a dinner party, charming, witty, and engaging, is another persona. The you that cares for your family, patient and responsible, is yet another. Each is a valid and necessary part of a functional life. This is why the advice, just be yourself, creates so much confusion. When someone tells you to be yourself at a critical business negotiation, which self are they referring to? The raw, unfiltered self that sings off-key in the shower? Or the competent, strategic self you have built for this very moment? The feeling of being fake or inauthentic is often just the friction between our inner, private world and the necessary persona we are wearing for the situation. The mask in itself is not the problem. The danger, as Jung warned, arises when the actor forgets he is wearing a mask. The danger comes when we identify so completely with our public face that we believe it is all we are. When we pour all our psychic energy into perfecting this external shell, chasing likes, promotions, and the approval of others, our true inner self begins to starve. We become hollow. A perfect polished diplomat with no private convictions, a charming socialite with no true friends, a successful professional who feels empty inside. And the more we invest in this outer mask, the more we are forced to deny what lies beneath it. Every raw ambition, every unacceptable desire, every flicker of anger, and every inconvenient truth gets pushed down deep into the darkness of our unconscious. And the more we push into that darkness, the more powerful it becomes. This darkness, this vast hidden continent within our own minds. This repository for everything we have been taught to deny. Jung gave it a name. He called it simply the shadow. The shadow is the unconscious home for every part of ourselves that we refuse to acknowledge. It is your hidden ambition, your repressed anger, your secret envy, your untamed desires. It is every selfish impulse, every irrational thought, every impolite truth you have ever swept under the rug of your consciousness out of fear or shame. Our society, our upbringing, our entire culture has taught us to see the shadow as a monster, a dangerous beast to be locked away, the source of all our sins. And this is the second and most profound lie that has kept you weak. Jung's greatest and most courageous insight was this: the shadow is not evil. It is not something to be destroyed. On the contrary, it is the very source of your life force. It is the rich, dark, fertile soil from which the most vibrant parts of you can grow. It is the raw, chaotic energy of a star before it ignites. It is, as the title of this section suggests, the gold in the darkness. Think about the people pleaser, the nice guy, the person who feels chronically exhausted and powerless. Why do they suffer? Because they have waged a lifelong war against their own shadow. They have cut themselves off from their own power source out of a desperate need to be seen as good. Their aggression, which could have become the assertive strength to set boundaries and say no, was repressed, and now manifests as depression or passive-aggressive resentment. Their ambition, which could have become the drive to build an empire or create a masterpiece, was repressed and now festers as bitter envy towards those who dare to succeed. Their raw desire, which could have become the passion to live a life of adventure and true connection, was repressed and now leaves only a hollow ache for a life they are too afraid to claim. A person with no connection to their shadow is not a saint. They are a ghost, an incomplete two-dimensional version of the magnificent, complex being they were meant to be. True strength, true power, and true authenticity do not come from pretending this darkness doesn't exist. It comes from turning around, looking the beast directly in the eye, and learning how to dance with it. But how? How do we approach this dangerous, powerful force without being consumed by it? How do we mine the gold without being burned by the dragon that guards it? That is the art of integration, and it is the unspoken path to power we will explore next. So we stand at the edge of our own inner darkness, face to face with our shadow. The question is no longer what it is, but what we do with it. The first step on this unspoken path to power is to understand what integration is not. It is not an invitation to unleash your inner monster upon the world. It is not permission to become cruel, selfish, or destructive. A person possessed by their shadow is just as much a slave as the person who denies it. No, integration is something far more sophisticated. It is the conscious, courageous process of bringing the darkness into the light of your awareness. It is the alchemy of the soul, turning the raw lead of your repressed instincts into the refined gold of conscious strength. This is not easy, but it begins with 3 practices. First, radical observation without judgment. You must become a detective of your own soul. When you feel that flash of envy towards a successful colleague, do not crush it with guilt. Hold it, examine it, ask, what does this envy tell me about what I truly desire? The answer is the first clue to your own repressed ambition. When you feel a surge of anger at a small slight, do not deny it. Ask, what boundary of mine has just been crossed? That anger is a loyal guard dog telling you where your territory ends. Keep a journal not of your good deeds, but of your dark thoughts. Not to act on them, but to finally learn their language. Second, dismantle your rigid definitions of good and bad. You have been taught that aggression is bad. But what if aggression is simply the raw energy required for self-protection and achievement? The integrated person does not destroy this energy. They refine it into unwavering assertiveness and courage. You have been taught that selfishness is bad. But what if a degree of selfishness is the foundation of self-respect and the ability to care for others without burning out? This is about seeing your shadow not as a collection of sins, but as a toolbox of neutral, powerful energies that have been mislabeled by a society that prefers you to be predictable and tame. Third and most advanced is conscious channeling. This is where true power is born. Once you understand your anger, you can use its fire not to shout, but to fuel a difficult, honest conversation that changes your life. Once you understand your ambition, you can harness its relentless drive not to tear others down, but to build your life's work with a focus so intense it becomes a creative force. This is the difference between a wildfire and a controlled engine. Both use the same element, fire. One destroys indiscriminately. The other powers a great journey. Your shadow is your fire. For years you have tried to extinguish it, leaving you cold and powerless. The path forward is to learn how to build the engine. This process of observing, reframing, and channeling is not a one-time fix. It is the great work of a lifetime. And as you continue this work, something remarkable begins to happen. The polished mask you wear to survive and the powerful shadow you've hidden in the dark begin to move closer to each other. They begin to talk, to negotiate, to merge. This sacred union of light and dark within a single soul has a name. It is the ultimate goal of our journey. It is what Jung called individuation. Individuation. It is the final destination, the great work of a human life. It is the process of becoming a complete, whole, and individual being, not a flawless one, but an integrated one. It is the acorn finally becoming the mighty oak, containing within it both the memory of the sun and the secrets of the dark soil from which it grew. So now we return to where we began, to that hollow piece of advice. Just be yourself. The individuated person, the person who has danced with their shadow, understands the profound foolishness of this phrase. They do not have a single self to be. They have an entire inner kingdom to rule, populated by both angels and demons, and they are its conscious sovereign. The truly powerful individual can walk into a boardroom and consciously put on the persona of a decisive, agreeable leader because the situation demands it, and they are no longer afraid of being fake. But they can also, when a boundary is crossed, draw upon the cold fire of their shadow to say no with a calm finality that leaves no room for negotiation because they are no longer afraid of being difficult. Their kindness has weight because it is a choice, not a compulsion born of fear. Their ambition is creative because it is a conscious drive, not a secret envy. Their strength is authentic because it is forged from the union of their light and their darkness. This is true freedom, not the flimsy freedom to simply be yourself, but the profound freedom to be everything you are, the diplomat and the warrior, the saint and the sinner, and to consciously choose which part of that whole to bring forth in service of your highest purpose. For too long you may have lived half a life, polishing the mask while starving the soul. You have feared the monster in your own basement, not realizing it was guarding the very treasure you were seeking. The journey of integration is not easy. It will demand courage you didn't know you had. It will ask you to look at parts of yourself you would rather ignore, but the reward is incalculable. It is the end of the exhausting performance. It is the deep peace that comes from no longer being at war with yourself. It is the quiet power that comes at last from being whole. So stop trying to simply be yourself. Start the greater, more terrifying, and infinitely more rewarding journey to become who you are. If this journey into the depths of the psyche has sparked something within you, then your path forward begins here. Subscribe for more explorations of philosophy and psychology that go beyond the surface. Like this video if you have found value in it, and share it with someone who might be tired of wearing their mask. Thank you for walking this path with us.